I love that tune. We are live. We are live. Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Wednesday night show, Joe Knows NFL Review Preview. This week, we are reviewing the week one of the NFL games, and we're going to be previewing the upcoming week two games. I'm looking forward to doing both. And everyone, what a week one it was in the NFL. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, half of us are feeling good, half of us are feeling not so good because there's 16 games, 32 teams. Half have to lose, half have to win. So unfortunately, I'm on the losing side. I'm a Giants fan. We didn't exactly have the best game this week. We didn't really show up all that well. So I'm expecting some improvement there. But anyway, I'm feeling good because week one of the NFL season is in the books, baby. And what a week one it was. Bookended by two fantastic games. It was like the NFL gods knew that we needed something like this because, last season, it was a great season last season, but just with COVID and no preseason and players getting COVID and, not being able to play for 2 weeks and stuff like that, it just feels like it's much more back to normal. And it felt so good. It felt so normal, normalcy. It felt great. And I'll tell you though, those two games, the Thursday night game, the Monday night game, you don't always get that. You don't always get those really good games on those prime time nights. But we got them. We got them. And we're going to go into the content real quick. Just as a reminder, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Give us that 5-star Apple review. Even if you're not an Apple, take 30 seconds to go over and give us a 5-star review because we deserve it. Damn it, we're really good at what we do. And we just love pumping out content for you guys. So let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. We are going to jump into the review of last week's games, babies. And like I said, let's start off with the Cowboys and Buccaneers because what a game it was. And you know what? The Buccaneers looked great. I thought the Cowboys looked even better. The Buccaneers did what they were supposed to do. They were the defending Super Bowl champions. They look like it. They're healthy. I think they brought everyone back from last year, at least everyone that was relevant, and they looked fantastic. And there was no way Tom Brady was going to let that team have any type of letdown at all. They showed up. It was really nice seeing Antonio Brown come back. I love Antonio Brown. I'm glad to see that he's back. It looks like he's doing good. It's not just the Buccaneers who are a perfect spot for him. Him being with Tom Brady is perfect for him. And this combination is going to be fantastic. Antonio Brown is going to be, I think, one of the top 5 wide receivers this year. And I don't think the first game was a fluke. I really don't. People who own Mike Evans in fantasy, beware. I like Mike Evans a lot, but I think it's going to be the Antonio Brown show the rest of the way for the most part. For the most part. And it was fun seeing Gronk out there. I love Gronk. Buccaneers, congratulations on that big comeback win. Wasn't shocked when you had like a little over a minute left, I think it was, in the fourth quarter, and you came back and you got the game-winning field goal. Wasn't shocked by it at all. Great game, but Dallas Cowboy fans, Dan, you should be proud. I know you all are. That was a great game. I think you guys are going to run away with the NFC East this year, and I do think the NFC East is going to be much more competitive than last year. I think last year was kind of like a fluke, but Dallas Cowboy fans, I think your team's going to run away with the NFC East. I think you're probably one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC this year. I don't think week one was any type of fluke at all. That was a serious team that you went against. They were prepared. I don't think the Buccaneers necessarily played poorly. I think you guys just played really well. I'm not concerned about Zeke. I know he didn't have a big game. You're going against a very good run defense, and I think he's going to be fine. I thought your offensive line actually played well. Who's McGovern? I think his name was the guard. Guy played really well. I'm not sure he probably didn't do too well in the run game because the run game wasn't very effective against the Buccaneers. But again, that's not really a surprise. Buccaneers rush defense is really good. But McGovern was like a stone wall out there in pass protection. Dak Prescott, congratulations, man. Kudos to you. You're a great guy. I think you're a great leader for the Cowboys. You deserve the contract that you got. You showed it. Man, you are prime time Thursday night. What a great storyline that is. Dak, you're a great guy. I can't root for you, to succeed against my team, the Giants, but I'm rooting for you as an NFL player in general and as a person. You're a great guy. Thumbs up to you, my friend. And hey, the wide receivers, Amari Cooper looked fantastic. Gallup was looking really good. I think he's injured now. I think he's missing this upcoming game in week 2, but he had a really good game. And of course, CeeDee Lamb had a very good game too. He had some drops, and that hurt the Cowboys, but he did have a really good game overall. The guy was, you could see all the talent there with CeeDee Lamb, absolutely fantastic. And honestly, I thought the Cowboys played a little bit of a better game, and I think they should have won. The fact is that they're very good kickers. Their line, who is usually one of the best in the league, missed a fairly easy field goal. I think it might have been 31, maybe 38 yards, but it was very makeable. Normally he's golden with those, and he missed an extra point too. Cowboys lost by 2 points. That's a 4-point differential there. Even if you just made the field goal, they would have won. And actually, I thought, like I said, I thought the Cowboys played the better game, but it was fantastic. Great start to the 2021 season. I think the season's going to be great. I think that was such a good indication for what the season's going to be like. I really do. I'm really looking forward to it. And okay, I'm just going to go through the I'm here on NFL.com, just looking at the scores. I'm just going to go game to game. Some games I'm going to touch on longer, some not so much. Just where I think like the really intriguing storylines were, I'm going to, I'll harp on a little more, and then we'll move on to the preview. Okay, so the next game I have here on the NFL.com and their schedule for Week 1, Jaguars and Texans. What a game, huh? The Texans. Hey, I think we were all expecting, even though the Jaguars, no one's expecting much from the Jaguars this year. This is a rebuilding team. They're a very young team. They got a new head coach with Urban Meyer. No one's expecting much, but I don't think anyone was expecting a beatdown by the Houston Texans after everything they've been through this year, over the past, at least the past year, with just all the bad drama, all the shenanigans, the head coach GM getting fired, and the crap show that guy was, what he did to that franchise. He should never be allowed near an NFL team again. But anyway, Texans 37-21 over the Jags. That was really cool to see. I think the fun's is gonna end there for the Texans after Week 1. I think that was probably their shining moment, because they just don't have enough talent to really do what they need to do to compete. I'm not trying to crap on the team. They're a rebuilding team. That's just a fact. But listen, Tyrod Taylor, he had a great game. You know what team should be lining up right now to offer 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks for Tyrod Taylor, because he looked fantastic. All right, I'm joking there a little bit. But anyway, kudos to the Texans for pulling that off. That was really cool. And of course, it makes someone like myself, a Giants fan, think like, we've got more talent than that. How come we don't show up? I bet we would not have put up 37 points against the Jaguars. Jaguars are really bad. They're not the Broncos. The Broncos are a solid, really solid team with a very good defense. But if the Giants were playing the Jaguars, I don't think they would have put up 37 points, probably not even close to it. So, hats off to you, Texans. Your fans really need it. That's really cool. And I think the fun's going to end there, though, unfortunately. Jaguars, I think Trevor Lawrence, listen, first game, I think off the top of my head, I think he had I think he had 3 interceptions, if I recall correctly. And all right, I'm not really going to the stats or the specific stats, but off the top of my head, I think Trevor Lawrence had 3 interceptions. I'm not harping on it. I think the guy is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. But I'd just like to point something out. If Daniel Jones had 3 interceptions in his first game ever, he would have been crucified, but he didn't. He had a great game against the Buccaneers a few years ago. It was his first game, comeback win, great win, probably the best game he ever played, actually. And but I'm just saying, if Daniel Jones had 3 interceptions his first game, he would have been crucified. All right, so. But don't worry, I'm not saying that he's as good or as Trevor Lawrence, or that Trevor Lawrence is going to be bad. Not at all. I fully believe in Trevor Lawrence, but just making a point. That's all. Okay, on to the next game. Chargers at Washington. That game was somewhat Fitz-tragic in terms of what happened with Fitzmagic, aka Fitzpatrick. Me and everyone here at Total Ups and Titles were all big fans of Fitzpatrick. I got to say, I wasn't shocked. Something weird always happens with Fitzpatrick when he's named the starter at the beginning of the season. Either that he doesn't do well with the team that he's been named the day 1 starter for, or something like this happens. It's just weird. But anyway, he's going to be out, I think, for like at least 8 weeks. I think that was the prognosis with a hip injury. And so, that spelled trouble for Washington. I actually had the Chargers going into Washington and winning that game by like a point or 2. I thought it was going to be very close. I think it was a 4-point game, actually. It was close. 20-16 Chargers. Washington, the defense played a very good game. Holding the Chargers to 20 points is very impressive. in Washington, Antonio Gibson had a very good game. The wide receivers did okay, with the backup quarterback in there, but you know, that's a problem. And I wasn't the biggest believer of Fitzpatrick going into the season. Because, like I said, his track record, like I've said in the past, his track record has always been when you don't expect much from him, he does very well. When you expect something from him, he doesn't do so well. So we'll see how it goes with Heineke, the backup quarterback. He had some impressive moments last year. So I'm not saying it's he actually might bring something to the table with the Redskins. I wouldn't automatically write him off like a lot of backup quarterbacks. I wouldn't necessarily write him off, but I'm looking forward to talking about the Week 2 game with Washington a little bit in the program. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit because I know we have another program coming on at 10 p.m. Dollars to Deuces, and they need to come here to StreamYard and set up a little bit too. So, okay, so the next game, Seahawks at the Colts. Wow, going in hindsight, I shouldn't have been shocked. I think I picked the Seahawks to win this game. Yeah, I did pick the Seahawks to win this game, and I'm pretty sure. And the thing with the Colts is, all right, Seahawks took care of business 28-16. Indianapolis didn't look good, but looking back now, really maybe my expectations should have been different. That I do think the Colts are probably a better team. I still think that they may be a better team actually than the Seahawks. I think if this game were played in the middle of the season, it would be different. This was Carson Wentz's first game as a Colt. So everything's new. He's been with Frank Reich before, but it's still a new team, still new personnel. So the result of this game in hindsight shouldn't be a shock. 28-16. Seattle came in, took care of business. In hindsight, the result of this game shouldn't have been a shock. But I think Carson Wentz is gonna get better. It's the first game, and I don't think people should be too down on him yet. I do think he needs his weapons to step up as well, though, and not just Jonathan Taylor, who had a good game. But again, we'll get into those upcoming games like the Colts at the end of the show, the second half of the show. Jets, Panthers. Panthers took care of business, 19-14. Game went basically as I expected. It was a fairly low scoring game and a close game. And actually, I thought both teams played well considering. I think the Panthers show that they're definitely a team that's trending in the right direction. They've gotten a lot of good young pieces. Christian McCaffrey comes back from a major injury from last year. In game one, what does he do? He goes full on monster mode. And he is the best player in the league, in my opinion. It's not a stretch to say, or at least top three. This guy is an absolute difference maker. And he put on a monster performance. Congratulations to you, Mr. McCaffrey. Sam Darnold had a pretty good game. The Panthers overall, they played a pretty good game. And Terrace Marshall, the second round pick for the Panthers, wide receiver out of LSU, had a good amount of targets. And actually, I think he was number 2 on the team with receptions, and he had a healthy amount of targets. So keep an eye on Terrace Marshall, rookie out of LSU on the Panthers. I think this guy's going to get better and better. And the Panthers are definitely trending in the right direction. I'm very happy for Sam Darnold. On the Jets side, I think Zach Wilson actually had a good rookie game. He had a good first game for his career. I thought he did fine. He doesn't have the best weapons to work with. The running game needs to sort itself out. They don't have a bell cow there. Tevin Coleman, Carter, the rookie, and there's another guy too. Is it Ty Johnson? Is that his name? They're going to wind up being a real stud there, as a running for the running back core. I like Carter. I don't think he's ever going to be like a 3-down running back at all. He could be a nice complementary piece. So the Jets are going to need that. I'm sure next draft they'll probably take care of that. But major injury, Mekhi Becton went down. He's out for at least a few weeks, I believe. I forgot exactly how severe it is, but I believe left tackle Mekhi Becton is going to be out for at least a few weeks, so that is going to hurt. But overall, I thought the Jets defense, showed up pretty well. Letting up 19 points on the road is not bad. So Jets trending in the right direction. I thought overall they lost, but I thought they're trending in the right direction, and I thought overall it was actually a positive game for the Jets. They do need their wide receivers. Corey Davis also had a very good game too. I'm not high on him. I joke around. I say that he stinks, kind of like half joking in that, yes, he had a very good game. Here's the track record with Corey Davis and his entire career. He'll have a very good game like he did against the Panthers, and then he won't show up for a few weeks. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case as basically the number 1 wide receiver for the Jets. I hope he does. He he is consistent for the Jets, and not that he has to put up monster numbers every week, but they need him to be the man, just to be consistent. Corey Davis, give that to the Jets. That's what they need. And Elijah Moore, rookie wide receiver, second round pick for the Jets. He was targeted. He was targeted a decent amount. He had like 3 drops, and that's not like him. He wasn't known for drops as far as I recall. He wasn't known for drops at Ole Miss. So don't expect that to keep happening. I'd like to see that he was being used, and if he had converted those 3 receptions, it would have been a big difference in his stat line. It probably would have been like a total of like 77 additional yards. There were some big plays there. But I think you're going to see a lot of growth from Elijah Moore. Looking forward to him in the next game. Okay, so speaking of the next game from last week, it was the Vikings and the Bengals, and that was definitely a shock. Listen, the Vikings defense, Bengals won 27-24. The Vikings defense isn't what it's been for like the past like 6-7 years. Vikings defense has been one of the better defenses in the league quite a while now. They definitely took a step back last year. Based on this game, they've got a little ways to go. Maybe they'll get better as the season progresses, but that's definitely a concern, letting up 27 points to the Bengals, the young Bengals. I'm not taking anything away from the Bengals. Let's be honest, this is a rebuilding team. They're very young and they're exciting. And what was cool about seeing the Bengals is that they put up 27 points in that Burrow was healthy. He looked good. Good for you, Joe Burrow. You also had, the wide receiver showed up. This is a good wide receiver core. It's going to be fun seeing this offense go forward with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, who they drafted, I think, last year, and then Tyler Boyd, who is just, a very consistently good, clutch wide receiver. I love Tyler Boyd. And they've got Joe Mixon, too, young running back, who has a hard time staying healthy, but when he's healthy, he's good. Really looking forward to this offense progressing. Keep going, Bengals. Great game for you. Nothing really to call out for the Vikings, to be honest. I think this is just for the Vikings. I'm just chalking it up to a bad week one. Honestly, that's all. I don't think there's anything really to call out. All that much concern with the Vikings. Like I said, we'll see what happens with the defense if they get better as the season goes along. They did take a step back last year. We'll see, but I think the Vikings are going to be a dangerous team. Especially offensively speaking, they are going to be dangerous. I think this week one was kind of like a fluke. Viking fans, don't get too down on yourselves there. Moving on to the next game, Cardinals and Titans. This one was a shocker. Not so much for the result. I actually had picked the Titans, I think, to win straight up, but I had taken the Cardinals for the points. I thought this was going to be a very close game, and I was on the fence as to who straight up was going to win this game. Cardinals, what a team you are building there. 38-13, they took care of business against Tennessee in Tennessee. And I'll tell you, Cardinals are building one sexy team. And I'll say it again. Don't be shocked if, like, in 2, maybe 3 years, we see a Super Bowl of Miami Dolphins and Arizona Cardinals, because both of these teams are trending in the right direction with a slew of young stars, and they seem to be on the same trajectory, don't they? I think so. You look at Kyler Murray had a fantastic game. What a talent this guy is. What a talent. DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, had a good game. I don't remember actually DeAndre Hopkins, but Rondale Moore, rookie, second round pick, he had a good game as well. And I think Kirk, their other wide receiver, had a really good game too. But Cardinals just took care of business there. I'd like to point out Isaiah Simmons, who I was saying on my last episode, I think on the Sunday show, when I was doing the preview for the games, that I said that Isaiah Simmons is going to have a bounce back year this year. He's too talented to be a bust, and he had a good game with, I think he had like 10 tackles, 8 solos, something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but he had a good game. And Tennessee, I would definitely be a little concerned. That's concerning what happened there. Julio Jones, the defense obviously didn't look good. So I'm concerned for the Titans. I like the Titans a lot. I think they're like a lunch pail group. I love their style. I love how the team was built and how competitive they've been, pretty much built around Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown on the offense. But Tennessee, that game is concerning. But I'll tell you, I'm not taking anything away from the Cardinals. I think this team is for real. And they're going to be dangerous for a very long time, man, very long time. Anyway, moving on to the next game, 49ers at the Lions. Not a surprise, the result here. 49ers took care of business. I actually think the Lions beat the spread. I think the spread, if I recall correctly, was 8.5, and the Lions lost by 8. It was actually the 49ers had this game in hand very early on, and the Lions, started coming back at the end. But hey, listen, Lions, you're a rebuilding team. You're basically rebuilding from scratch right now, from the bottom up. So you've got a long ways to go. It was still, you know what? You put up 33 points. Goff had a really good game. Hawkinson had a very good game, and DeAndre Swift had a really good game, and you need that. So stuff that you need to get, that you need to happen happened. So listen, it's going to be a long season for you guys. It's going to be a long season for the Lions fans. But you know what? It was cool to see that you guys came out, and I like your head coach Dan Campbell. And I think the end, this result, all these points he put up, only losing basically by a touchdown and 2-point conversion against a tough team in the 49ers, I think that bodes well. And I think that's reflective of your head coach. We'll see. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a long season. You guys have a long ways to go, but it was a cool result. With the 49ers, really not much for me to call out here. Garoppolo had a really good game. I'm sorry, Elijah Mitchell had a very good game, 6th-round pick. Everyone's scooping him up on the fantasy waiver wires, understandably so. I always like this guy a lot. Mostert, not a surprise. Unfortunately, it happened game 1, down with an injury. Elijah Mitchell stepped up and had a great game. He had like a little over 100 yards, and I think he had a touchdown too. But anyway, 49ers did well overall. They did really well. It was a good first game for them. Steelers, Bills. I called this upset. I had a feeling the Steelers defense was going to shut down the Bills, and they did. Bills fans, don't panic. You went up against a really good defense. That's all. It was just a bad week 1. You're still one of the best teams in the AFC. And I wouldn't worry about this at all. There's no shame in losing to Pittsburgh. And actually, here's a good sign for Buffalo. Buffalo's defense only let up really I think one touchdown, and that was it. I think the other 16 points, yeah, you had the Steelers got their points through 3 field goals, so that's 9 points there. And then they had a punt. The Steelers blocked a punt that they returned for a touchdown. So the Steelers actually scored one touchdown on offense. Bills defense, I should say, Bills fans, that's a really positive sign for your defense, because you got a lot of young pieces in your defense, and that was kind of like your Achilles heel last year. You didn't have a bad defense. Far from it. It was a good defense, but it wasn't a playmaking defense really in terms of getting sacks. So I think that was a really good showing by your defense. I wouldn't worry about things. That's just, there's no shame in losing the Steelers, who have probably an elite defense again, most likely. And that's just how it is. The Steelers never lay down for anyone. They're always a tough team. They're like the Ravens. They never lay down for anyone. And another team that never lays down, well, except for Week 16 last year, Philadelphia Eagles. The next game, Eagles 32, Falcons 6. Wow. I'm going to take a little time to talk about the Eagles here, but Falcons, listen, it's going to be a long year for you. We all knew that. I really wouldn't worry about much. I don't know what to take out of this game for the Falcons. Okay. I still think Calvin Ridley's going to be a really good wide receiver. Pitts got his targets. He didn't have a lot of yards, tight end Kyle Pitts, but I think he had like 8 targets. Believe in Pitts. He's going to be absolutely fine. For the Falcons, it's going to be a long year for you. I think you knew that going in. I don't know if it's one game. I don't know if Matt Ryan is completely done or not, but it was going to be a long year. We all knew that. But the result of this game was shocking. Eagles 32 points. They only left 6 points for the Falcons. Here, let's talk about the Eagles, because we need to go in a little depth about this team. Jalen Hurts. Let's start off with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had a great, fantastic game, and I'm really happy for him. I actually thought a lot of people were begging, for the Eagles to draft a quarterback, Justin Fields or whoever. I thought they should give Jalen Hurts a chance, and I thought he was deserving of the chance. You spent a 2nd-round pick on him. This guy had tools. He showed it last year. In the games that he played, he looked toolsy. He had tools to work with, and I was definitely intrigued by Jalen Hurts. And I thought, let this guy play for a year, see how he does. And he had a great game. And Devonta Smith and Kenneth Gainwell, 2 players I wanted my Giants to pick, 2 guys that I loved, had great games. Miles Sanders had a really good game too, but for me in the running game, the story of that game for the Eagles in the running game was Kenneth Gainwell, only because he he's not Miles Sanders. He was a fifth round pick. I thought he was going to be a lot more than just like a third down running back option. I thought he brings a lot more to the table, and I think he showed that. Um, and if Miles Sanders stays true to form with his history of injuries, if he goes down this year, I think Kenneth Gainwell can be that three down running back for a few games. I don't know about an entire season, but I think for at least a few games, Gainwell can be a really good handcuff. I scooped him up in as many drafts as I could this year. Forget about the waiver. I actually drafted him late for in as many leagues as I possibly could. I'm in 5 leagues this year, and I took Gainwell whenever I possibly could at the near the end of the draft, and I was happy to do so. But Devontae Smith, Kenneth Gainwell, 2 guys I was hoping my Giants would pick. The Eagles took them. And can you imagine this? Think about this for a second. Say Jalen Hurts does prove throughout the year that he's the man, that he's the franchise quarterback for the Eagles. The Eagles already have 2 first-round picks next year. And I think if Carson Wentz hits some certain thresholds, they're going to get a first-round pick from the Colts. So I believe they're going to have 3 first-round picks next year. Can you imagine if they didn't have to spend it on the quarterback, like if they didn't have to trade some of those picks to move up to draft a quarterback? Say they've got their young franchise quarterback and they have 3 first-round picks next year to use on whatever they want. That's whoever's not a quarterback. That is friggin' scary. Absolutely scary to think about if you're an opponent in the NFC East. Really scary. Some food for thought there. Okay, next game. Browns at the Chiefs. Not a surprise. Me and most, I think like the rest of us that told us the titles, we're taking the Browns for the upset. And I was on that train throughout, for the past like 2 weeks actually, up until Sunday morning, and I still took the Browns Sunday morning when I was revising some of my picks. Sunday morning, cup of Joe, I got very hesitant because it hit me. I thought about it. You know what? Cleveland is a team that has a track record of losing. They were a very good team last year, and I believe in the Cleveland Browns. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. They're very well rounded, and I think they're going to have a very good year. But going into Kansas City and winning is a tall order, and especially against Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are no joke. So in hindsight, you know what? I actually not surprising that the Chiefs won. Obviously, it's not a surprise that the Kansas City Chiefs, but in hindsight, I shouldn't have been picking the Browns to win. They did cover the spread. They only lost by 4 points, but in hindsight, beating the Chiefs in Kansas City week 1 is a tall order. And the Cleveland Browns, like I said, they had a really good year last year, but for like 30 years before that, they had a track record of losing. And going into Kansas City week 1 and trying to win is a really tall order. So, I look back at it now and I should have taken the Chiefs. I should have taken the Chiefs straight up. Next game. Okay, so Packers Saints. This was a shocker. We all expected the Packers to go down, take care of business against the Saints with Jameis Winston, who I don't think is a bad quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Drew Brees. Drew Brees wasn't Drew Brees last year. He was older and it was ready for him to retire. But there's no way I expected the Saints to put up 38 points and keep the Packers to 3 points. Packers played a horrible game. Packer fans, don't worry about it. I think you're still one of the elite teams in the NFC. I think you'll be 5. I'm sure by the end of the year, you're going to be like 11-6 or 12-5, something like that. You'll make the playoffs. You'll be fine. I think this game is just gonna, just let it go. It's not a big deal. But Saints, really impressive performance. I'm really happy for Jameis Winston. I was hoping he could actually resuscitate his career in New Orleans, and I hope this is a good start towards that goal there. Broncos and Giants. Not the result I was looking for. I'm a Giants fan. Not the result I was looking for. But man, you know what? In hindsight, should have known something like this was going to happen as a Giants fan. Because you can talk Daniel Jones all you want, but think about this. Barkley is the best player on the team when he's healthy. The guy didn't play for a year. He didn't even play this preseason. Kenny Golladay, big time wide receiver, big time free agent wide receiver, didn't play in preseason. Kadarius Toney, who even if he had played in preseason, I wouldn't have expected all that much from him anyway because he's a rookie. It doesn't matter that he was drafted 20. He was a rookie whose only big season was last year. So I wasn't expecting much for Toney this year anyway. But also he didn't play this preseason either. It's a lot to ask for these guys to come in, especially Golladay and Toney not being familiar with the offense. It's a lot to ask for them to come in and really contribute. And 27-13 in hindsight, this result shouldn't have been so shocking. Giants fans, calm down a little bit. Calm down. There were some positives. The O-line actually looked pretty good, and pass protection. Not in the run game, they didn't. They looked horrible. Pass protection, they looked pretty good. And Sterling Shepard had a fantastic game as well. I think Giants fans, listen, it might actually, in my opinion, it might take up to week 3 for the offensive players to really click. Oh man, I need to speed this up because I have to get out of here for dollars for deuces. But Giants fans, don't worry about it too much just yet. Let's see how things go. I feel pretty good about the season, actually, as long as everyone stays healthy. Dolphins and Patriots. Dolphins, great game. Patriots, not so bad, actually. Mac Jones I thought he had a really good game. Dolphins, you're up and coming. You're trending in the right direction. Like I said, 2 or 3 years, I think, and I hope you'll be in the Super Bowl. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's against the Cardinals. Bears and Rams. Rams took care of business against the Bears. The Justin Fields watch is officially on. Not surprised by the showing. I think most people expected the Rams to destroy the Bears, and they did, 34-14. Ravens and Raiders, the last game of the week. What a great Monday night game. Ravens, don't worry too much just yet. Raiders, good game. I'm taking nothing away from you. You guys played a really good game. You stood in there against a team that always fights to the end in the Ravens, and you won it. You pulled it out. Good for you. Raiders, there was a lot of kudos to go around. Carr I thought had a really good game. The defense actually, I thought the Raiders defense actually played pretty well. It's not easy. It's not easy going against Lamar Jackson. And I don't care, who his receivers are, who the running backs are. It's not easy to minimize what this guy does. And Lamar Jackson, obviously, he had 2 fumbles. He really cost the Ravens this game. But also, remember this about Lamar Jackson. Before people are starting to kind of like hate on this guy or trying to minimize how good he really is, this is a guy who's really asked to do so much. And he didn't really have the starting running backs he was supposed to have. They've got the reinforcements coming in. They're coming in, and I think the Ravens are going to have a very fine season. So Ravens fans, don't worry, don't panic, don't hit the panic button just yet. I fully believe in your team. I think you're going to do fine. I really do throughout the rest of the year. Just a crazy, week 1 game. That's all. And the Raiders showed up. Good for you, Raiders. You won. I think your new stadium opened and you played there, and it looks great. And yeah, I'm really happy for you, Raiders. You're one of my backup teams. And congratulations, guys. All right, so moving on to the preview, week 2 preview, baby. All right, so let's get back over here real quick. I have to get to the week 2 games. All right, I'm going to give you storylines that I'm interested in. Okay, tomorrow night's game, Giants at Washington, and I'll go to the picks in a little bit. Giants at Washington, things that I'm looking for. Barkley, for the Giants, Barkley, Golladay, and a little bit of Toney. So let's see him, get a little more, progress a little bit. But like I said, I'm not expecting too much yet. Barkley and Golladay, they need to show up. They need to help out Daniel Jones. It just can't be Sterling Shepard. They need to show up. These are big time guys. They need them. I don't know what to expect from them. I'm actually thinking don't expect much until week 3, to be honest with you. But I'm actually glad that the Giants are playing Thursday night. I usually hate Thursday night games for the Giants. I'm actually glad that they're getting back on the horse and going to play. And Washington fans might be feeling the same way because their team lost too. And Washington's a really talented team. On Washington's side, Curtis Samuel was injured. I forgot how long he's out, but he's not playing this game. Look out for Dyami Brown. He's going to get more touches. He's a rookie 4th round pick, I believe, this year for the Washington football team. Brown's got the ability to take the top off of defense. So let's see if he's going to get some touches just like Scary Terry. Okay. Antonio Gibson, guy had a great first game. Let's see if he keeps that going. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. There's another guy who's always an injury waiting to happen. Giants, I'm really kind of focused on Barkley, Golladay, and I want to see the offensive line if they can offer that pass protection again against this defense like they did against Denver. I realize that Chubb didn't play for Denver last week, so that I'm sure that helped the Giants offensive line. I'm looking to see if they can continue to progress. Andrew Thomas, left tackle for the Giants, had a great game last week, and let's see if he does it. Andrew Thomas played very well against Chase Young twice last year. I don't think he let up 1 sack, and he might have minimized the pressures from Chase Young against Daniel Jones last year. So we need to see that. I want to continue to see the young offensive line progress. Let's see. And I think the Giants are going to pull this game out, but that might be the homer on me. We'll get to the picks in a little bit. I want to speed it up because Dollars to Deuces is coming up soon, baby cakes. Okay, next game, Patriots and Jets. I want to see more Mac Jones. Looking forward to him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback for the Patriots. I think you guys made the right choice in drafting him. He had a good first game. Let's see that going on. Let's see that continue. Patriots are playing the Jets. Zach Wilson, continue growing continue your growth as well. You had a good first game, I thought, overall. And this is a good test. Belichick's defense is always a test for young quarterbacks. Don't be surprised if the Patriots are probably going to win this game. They should win this game. They are a better team as of right now. The Jets have a lot of talent, but they still have a ways to go. Belichick is always a nightmare for young quarterbacks. This is the first time Zach Wilson's going up against Belichick defense. Expect some nightmares there. But, and another storyline for the Jets I'm looking forward to, Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, I think, I don't know about this game. The Patriots, it's tough. They're tough. It's tough to score against Belichick when you're being run by a rookie quarterback. But Elijah Moore, he could have had a really big game last week, except for some drops against the Panthers. I think he's going to wind up through the course of the year. Elijah Moore is going to wind up being the best wide receiver on the Jets. I do. I think he'll be better than Corey Davis, but you have to give it a little time. But I'm intrigued to see more Elijah Moore. Okay, Broncos and Jaguars. Broncos, you look so solid. Guys look really good. I think Pat Shurmur is working. The offensive coordinator is working really well with Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater looked fantastic last week. Really high percentage of completions. Really good throws. Scrambled when he needed to scramble. He stiff armed a few Giants, and he looked really good. And you're going to seriously take care of business against the Jaguars. I'm looking forward to Cortland Sutton getting some more. Having a big game. I'd like to see the run game take off a little more, and just the defense continue to just be as solid as they were last week against the Giants. Broncos have a nice schedule here in the beginning of the year to start off with Giants and the Jaguars. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, just do your thing, man. I just want to see you just get better and better and better. That's all I can say really about the Jaguars, to be honest. Travis Etienne's out. I guess I'd like to see a good game by James Robinson, the running back. So that's it for the Jaguars right now. Bills, Dolphins, Bills. I want to see your defense continue to perform well like you did last week against the Steelers. Roethlisberger, you made him look like the old man that he is. You're coming up against a young team that's talented. It's a young quarterback in Tua who's still learning his own way in the league. But Buffalo, I want to see your defense continue to play well. It's really nothing I'm looking forward, but I really need to point out on the Bills offense. I think they are what they are. They're a very good offense, and I think they're going to be fine. Dolphins just continue to grow. That's all I could say really. I want to see more Jalen Waddle. I want to see more Tua to continue to progress. I want to see more Devontae Parker, and I want to see Will Fuller's coming back this week. So we'll see what Will Fuller's returned wide receiver for the Dolphins, how that affects Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle's targets. I hope it doesn't affect Jalen Waddle because I love Jalen Waddle. I think this guy is going to be the man. I think Waddle's eventually going to be a top 5 wide receiver. I'm not saying this year, but maybe next year. But it's going to be interesting to see with Fuller coming back. I'm looking forward. Those are like the things that I'm looking forward to for the Dolphins. 49ers versus Eagles. Eagles. I want to see Jalen Hurts continue to roll like he did. Devontae Smith, continue to put it up. The running game with Miles Sanders and Gainwell. Keep it rolling, baby. Eagles defense. What he did against the Falcons last week, was that for real, or just the Falcons just crap, or is it like a combination of both? I want to see what you guys bring to the table, but the Eagles are always a tough team. This is going to be a tough matchup. And that's one of the games I'm definitely looking forward to the most. Rams at the Colts. Rams are going to take care of business at the Colts. I believe that the things I'm looking forward to in the Rams, Darrell Henderson. I'm keeping an eye on Darrell Henderson. I'm not a Henderson believer. He had a really good game last week, and I want to see that he continues to do it before I become a full believer in Darrell Henderson on the Rams. That's really the only thing for me to call out on the Rams, to be honest with you. On the Colts, Carson Wentz, I want to see him, he's going to, I believe in Carson Wentz. I think he's eventually going to be fine, but he needs the rest of his team to help step up too. And I just think he needs to get used to the offense. It's just taking a little time. I do believe in Wentz, though. However, Michael Pittman, they need that guy. Okay, they really need that guy to step up, sort of like help out with T.Y. Hilton being out. A lot of high expectations for Pittman this year. He really didn't have a good game last week. They need that guy. Hats off to Jonathan Taylor. I want to see another, he had a good game last week. I want to see the same thing. I wasn't necessarily a big believer in Taylor. Coach Sheps is. I'm sure Justin Stevens is. He's a Colts fan. But I just needed to see it from Jonathan Taylor first. He showed it last week. I want to see more of it a week 2. I've got my eye on him. Raiders at Steelers. Really no one for me to like call out on the Raiders, really in terms of like increased expectations or like increased interest. I just want to see the Raiders just keep winning. Raiders, keep winning. I think you've got the talent to be a really good team this year. Keep it rolling. And I'm really happy for Carr. A lot of people hate on Carr. I think Carr is actually a pretty good quarterback. I don't think he's an elite. I don't think he'll ever be elite. But I think he's a really good, solid quarterback. And I do think a good, solid football team can actually win a Super Bowl championship with Carr at the helm. But the Raiders, I think, need more talent. But let's keep it rolling. I think this is a winnable game against the Steelers. Steelers bring an elite defense. It's not going to be easy, but I think the Raiders have the balance to do it. The Steelers offense is looking kind of scary with Roethlisberger at the helm, so that's going to help the Raiders. But I think the Raiders have the tools to pull this out. I'll get to that in a little bit in my picks. The Steelers, what am I looking for in this game? I want to see some more Najee Harris. I want to see him, have a really big game. Chase Claypool, I want to see him have a big game, and I want to see the Steelers defense. I think you're elite. Let's see if you can continue that. You did a great job against the Bills last week. Let's see if you can continue that way. Bengals at the Bears. Ooh, I need to speed this up even more. Okay, Bengals, Bears. Bengals young offense. Keep rolling. I want to see your big playmakers in Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. Keep it rolling. I don't care about what you do on defense. Your defense is not my concern. You've got the ability in a year or two to have an elite offense. I want to see you continue to trend in that direction. I don't care about the defense. So you can let up 40 points a game. Just put up a lot of points yourself. I want to see you guys continue to grow on offense. Bears, Justin Fields. That's what I care about. Justin Fields. I don't think there's any point in playing Andy Dalton unless they feel that Fields just isn't ready yet. You got to leave that up to the coach. You got to leave it up to the coach. I know Bears fans, you may hate hearing that. You got to leave it up to the coach to make that decision. They just might not feel that Fields is ready just yet, as badly as you want him to play. But the Justin Fields watch is officially started. That clock has started. And really with the Bears, that's all I'm really looking forward to right now with Justin Fields. Texans and Browns. Really not much I'm looking forward to with this game in terms of players I'm looking, what am I looking for? Something that's going to really grab my attention. Really nothing with the Texans. They really don't have the personnel. I don't think, I guess Nico Collins. Nico Collins had a decent amount of targets last week. He was a second-round pick, I think, last year for the Texans, or third-round pick. I think he's going to be good in the NFL. I'd like to see him progress. He's the only thing I'm really interested in the Texans at this point, to be honest with you. Cleveland Browns, you had a heartbreaker against the Chiefs. There's no shame in that. You guys are solid. I believe you're healthy. Just dominate this game like you're supposed to. All right, against the Texans. But I think you guys are going to be fine. There's really no player on the Browns for me to call out in terms of any particular interest. I'll say this: Cleveland Browns. OBJ is out for this game as well. He's out week 2. He's already been declared out. That means another week of Donovan Peoples-Jones getting targets. He's of course not the number 1 wide receiver. I guess it's Landry right now. Donovan Peoples-Jones, you're being given another chance. People seem to have expectations of you. I don't know why. I think you stink, but you're getting a second chance to show something. Make it count. So I guess maybe I have my eye on you, that maybe you'll show that I'm wrong, that you don't stink. But I think I'm right. I think you stink. Anyway, Saints, Panthers. Saints, woo, let's see you guys keep it rolling. Jameis, I love you, Jameis. I want to see you succeed. Keep it rolling. Panthers, just keep doing your thing. There's no players. I guess, I've got my eye on for the Panthers. I guess I have my eye on Terrace Marshall. I'm really intrigued by him. I think he's going to be a real top wide receiver fairly soon in this league. And I guess that's who I've got my eye on. And also Sam Darnold, have another good game. Want to see him progress. And the Panthers defense, played well against the Jets. Let's see what they do against the Saints. That's going to be a good test. Vikings, Cardinals. Vikings, there's no specific player that I've got my eye on, but let's see how the defense performs against the Cardinals. This is a tall task. Going against the Cardinals, this team is explosive. And Cardinals, there's really no, I guess I've got my eye on Rondale Moore because I love that guy. But I already believe in Murray. I believe in DeAndre Hopkins. I think the defense looks like it's doing really well. Chandler Jones, defensive end for the Cardinals, had 6 sacks last week. I'm not expecting 6 sacks this week, but man, this guy is going to have, he's off to a monster start. I think Jones is going to have a monster season. And I am keeping my eye on the Cardinals defense. Can this wind up being an elite defense? The game that Isaiah Simmons had last week, is that a fluke? I don't think it is. There's no reason to believe that, but you want to see steady play. Let's see if Isaiah Simmons continues to play really well against the Vikings. And the Vikings do have a good offense. So Vikings, don't get your heads down too low just yet, Vikings fans. Falcons and Buccaneers. Keep my eye on Kyle Pitts. Keep my eye on the Falcons running back core in Mike Davis and Cordarrelle Patterson. And I actually thought they played okay last week. And but when you're down pretty quickly, you kind of have to abandon the run game anyway. But I'm keeping my eye on the Falcons running backs and Kyler Pitts and Calvin Ridley. And now that he's the #1 wide receiver. That's pretty much it for the Buccaneers. No one for me to really keep my eye on, to be honest with you. This is just a solid team, solid all the way around. I think the best team in the NFL, obviously the defending Super Bowl champions, and they didn't lose any key players in free agency this year. Titans at the Seahawks. Titans, let's see how they rebound. And this is a tough game against the Seahawks. This is going to be a good matchup. Let's see how the Titans respond to last week's loss. No player off the top of my head that I'm thinking that I got to keep my eye on, to be honest with you. Same thing with the Seahawks. Same thing with the Seahawks. Seahawks defense played pretty well last week. Let's see if I'm not a believer in the Seahawks defense at all. Let's see if they can do that for a second week in a row against the Titans. Titans should be playing better this week, but we'll see. Cowboys, Chargers. I think I'll get to my picks later, but this is a really good game. Definitely one of the top 3 games I'm looking forward to. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Cowboys, just continue rolling. I want to see Zeke have a good game, see him have a big game. Chargers defense is good, but I think Zeke is gonna have a big game, and I want to see that he's a key component for that offense. As good as the passing game is for the Cowboys, Zeke is such a key component for long-term success, like going into the playoffs. All right. The defense, Cowboys defense, I actually thought played pretty well against the Buccaneers last week. Let's see if they can do that 2 weeks in a row against the Chargers. You might be thinking, oh, you let up 32 points against the Buccaneers. It's not exactly great. Buccaneers are hard to contain. I thought the Cowboys defense actually did pretty well. Let's see if they can do it again against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Okay, man, how many more games? Chiefs at the Ravens. Chiefs, let's just see if you just wind up being the Chiefs. There's no player really I'm keeping my eye on. I don't expect all that much out of Hilaire. I don't think he's a great running back. I'm not expecting too much out of Hilaire, to be honest. That's the only guy I'd say maybe draws my interest a little bit, to see what he does. But I'm not a big believer in the guy anyway. But I guess, if there's one player I got to call out, I'll call out Hilaire, see how he does against the Ravens defense. Ravens, you've got Latavius Murray here now. He played a little bit the other day. You also have, was it Tyson Johnson? Or is it Tyson Williams? I forgot who it is. It's Tyson, like Ty apostrophe SON. Let's see how your running backs are doing, your new running backs. Le'Veon Bell, he signed as well. I don't know when he's going to play. And I think he might have signed Devontae Freeman as well, if I recall correctly. So you got a slew of new running backs. Let's see how you incorporate these guys. That's who I have my eye on. They're not sexy, but these guys are going to be important because the Ravens offense is so run based. I do think there's a chance that Le'Veon Bell could wind up resuscitating his career with Baltimore. I should say I'm actually making that prediction, like Antonio Brown did with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. I think Le'Veon Bell, I predict he's going to resuscitate his career at Baltimore. Not that he'll necessarily be 2016 with the Steelers, Le'Veon Bell, but I think he's going to have a really good. I think him being on the Ravens is a perfect match for him, and I think I've kind of stashed him away on a few of my teams in fantasy right now because I have some expectations, not necessarily this week or next week, but I think sometime by the middle of the season, Le'Veon Bell is going to be a really big factor for the Ravens. Okay, the final game, Lions at the Packers. I wish they didn't put this on Monday night, to be honest with you. I'm not expecting much from the Lions. I'm expecting the Packers to really come back and just wall up the Lions this week. They're going to, for after the Packers, the way they were mistreated by the Saints last week, the way they were beaten around. I think they're going to be looking to beat the Lions around. I think they probably will. But Lions, you know what? Just continue to do what you did last week. I want to see DeAndre Swift have another big game. I'd like to see a little Amon-Ra St. Brown, and who's their, I think, third round pick, I believe, out of USC this year. Very, very talented wide receiver who I believe in. I'd like to see him. He had a few targets and a few catches last week. I'd like to see that continue to grow. Let's see Hawkinson keep it up, and let's see how Sewell does. Penny Sewell, their first round pick, left tackle. I think he's left tackle. Maybe they haven't playing him right, but I think he's playing left tackle. Anyway, so good storylines there for the Lions. Let's see how some of those players do. And Goff, Goff, the Lions are going to need you to play as good as you can. Let's see how he does. The Packers, there's no individual players I need to call out who I've got my eye on. I think the Packers are just as a team are going to rebound and they're going to be just fine. So let's get to my picks real quick. And I'm going to do a share screen over here. Let's see. All right, I got to zoom through this real quick. Okay, share screen. Window. Bam. Share. Let's go, baby. Okay, my picks for week 2, real quick. Okay, Giants of Washington. Washington's given 3 points. Had the Giants with the upset. I do think, here's the thing. Washington's a better team on paper. There's a thing called history and track record. The Giants always get their butts kicked by the Eagles. Even when the Giants are a better team, they're lucky to claw out a victory against the Eagles. In the reverse, the Giants always beat up on Washington. I don't expect that to change this week, especially with Heinicke being there. And I'm not knocking Heinicke, but I think the Giants are going to have a rebound game this week. And I think they're going to actually pull the upset in Washington. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be like a 1-point game. But I think the Giants are going to pull it out. 49ers and the Eagles. 49ers are given 3.5. I'm taking the Eagles with the points. I'm taking the 49ers straight up. Rams at Colts. Rams are given 3.5. I'm taking Rams giving the points. I think the Rams are going to win by more than 3.5. Bills at Dolphins. Bills are given 3.5. I'm taking the Dolphins with the points. I'm taking the Bills straight up to win. Texans at the Browns. The Browns are given 12.5. I'm taking the Browns to win by more than 12.5. Patriots at the Jets. The Patriots are given 6 points. I'm expecting the Patriots to win by more than 6 points. I don't think they're going to kill the Jets, but I think they're going to win by probably a touchdown. And like I said, Zach Wilson, like any rookie quarterback, is going to have a hard time, almost near impossible time with the Belichick defense for the first time. That's why I'm taking the Patriots to win by more than 6. Bengals at the Bears. The Bears are given 2.5 points. I'm going Bengals with the points, and I'm going Bears straight up. I think I'm going to change that on my Sunday morning show. That'll probably change. I think I'm taking the Bengals just to win all the way around. I think I'll take the Bengals to win straight up. But right now, I'll stick with the Bears to win straight up. Bengals with the points. That'll probably change. Saints at the Panthers. Saints are given 4 points. I'm taking the Panthers with the points at home, and I'm taking the Saints straight up to win. Raiders at the Steelers. The Steelers are given 5.5 points. I'm picking the Steelers to win by more than 5.5 points, but it's going to be a good game. To win by like 6 or 7 points, it's going to be a good game. Broncos at the Jaguars. Broncos are given 6. I'm taking the Broncos to win by more than 6. Falcons at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are given 12. I'm taking the Buccaneers to win by more than 12. Vikings at the Cardinals. Cardinals are giving 4.5. I took the Vikings with the points and the Cardinals straight up to win. That's probably going to change Sunday. I think I'm just going to take the Cardinals to actually wipe the floor with the Vikings. Cowboys at the Chargers. Chargers are giving 3 points. I'm taking the Cowboys with the upset. I'm taking the Cowboys to win. I'm taking the Cowboys with the upset. Titans at Seahawks. Seahawks are laying 5 points. I'm taking the Titans with the points, and I'm taking the Seahawks straight up. Chiefs at Ravens. Chiefs are given 3.5. I'm taking the Chiefs to win by more than 3.5. Baltimore usually plays the Chiefs in any really good team. The Ravens always play the good teams really, really hard, really, really tough. But I need to see what's going to happen with these running backs first. They need that running game. So I want to see what happens. But right now, this could change. I'm definitely picking the Chiefs to win. But I might wind up taking the Ravens with the points in a close game, just because they always show up when you don't kind of expect them. Lions at Packers. Packers are laying 11 points. The Packers are giving 11 points. I'm taking the Packers in a blowout. Nothing against the Lions, guys. It's just that you are You're rebuilding from scratch. You're a very young team. And I think the Packers really have a bad taste in their mouth from getting shellacked by the Saints last week. Anyway, guys, that's it. I really don't have time for the bells and whistles because it is time for Dollars to Deuces just in a short while. I've gone way too long. Anyway, everyone, I'll try to make it quicker and shorter next week. I think I'll start the show at 8:30 going forward because I need a little time to do a review and a preview without rushing. So anyway, guys, it's been a great show. Love doing this. I'm going to see you Sunday morning at 8 a.m. for Sunday Cup of Joe, where I review the NCAA games from Saturday, and I do another preview, an updated preview of the Sunday and Monday games for the NFL. Anyway, peace. Love you all. Have a great NFL week, all.